भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः तदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतां श्रीगुरो वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपां साग्रजातं सहगणारघुनाथान्वितं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा सहगणा हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबन्धु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकाकान्त। पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण। All the devotees gathered today for this session. In this material world, most of the conditioned souls have a lot of expectations from others and from their own selves and from the situations that they face or from the opportunities that they encounter. Lot of expectations. And basically the expectation is expectation of one's own comfort, one's own joys, one's own pleasures. So people expect happiness in life, success in life. Nobody expects distress. Nobody is comfortable with difficulties or distress in life. They all expect happiness, pleasure, success, victory, wealth, name, fame, prestige, position, privileges, friends, love. That's what they expect. That's what they want. Why? Because that's our natural propensity. Anandamayo bhyasat. We are all Anandamayo bhyasat means by nature, every living being is pleasure seeking. Every jiva seeks pleasure. That's the natural inclination, proclivity of every soul to seek pleasure. But somehow, in this material world, we experience a lot of difficulties: birth, death, old age, disease, failure, defeat, insult. This is what we expect in this world. This is what we experience in this world. Our expectations are here and experience is here. There is a gap between what we encounter in life and what we expect in life. That gap creates so much of stress. so much of anxiety, so much difficulty. But how do we deal with it? Can we avoid it? Yeah, we can avoid it. We can avoid it by practicing bhakti and go to the spiritual world. So we can avoid it only in the spiritual world. But as long as we are in this material world, difficulties are inevitable. Because this world is a place of miseries. Dukkhalayam ashashvatam. Prabhupada gives an example in the 6th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. In a salt mine, wherever you go, whichever corner you explore, you will only find salt. You will not find sugar or jaggery or honey or rasmalai milk or rasgulla juice or gulab jamun sugar syrup. You will not find in salt mine. Salt mine means salt. But there is an expectation. There is a false hope. Yes, I will experience some happiness in this world. But the proves that even those who are practicing spiritual life also will have to experience so many difficulties, unnecessary tribulations. How do we deal with it? The expectation is pleasure, but the experience is displeasure. How do we reduce this gap? By minimizing the expectations. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Vidura says in the 3rd canto of Bhagavatam, Soham dranam kshulla sukhaya dukkham mahadgatanam virabaya tasyam pravartaye bhagavatam puranam yadaha sakshat bhagavan rishibhyah. Soham dranam kshulla sukhaya. Kshulla sukha means for meager amount of happiness. Mahad dukkham, they are experiencing tremendous amount of distress. For meager amount of happiness, they are experiencing tremendous amount of distress. Just like for a small upgrade in a gadget, we are willing to pay so much. Right? What is the facility that is offered by some product? It may be very less upgrade in the facility. What we already have is reasonable, but there is some little upgrade. But for that, we are willing to pay so much. And that shows the typical tendency of a conditioned soul to always seek for something higher, a higher pleasure in life. You want more and more. Although that want is there, the desire is there, but the expectation is not fulfilled. Because just consider this example that Bhagavatam gives. You are traveling in a desert, very dry, very hot. You are very thirsty. You need water. But somebody gives you not 1 liter, just maybe 5 ml of water. You're thirsty. You may empty 2 bottles, but somebody gives you 5 ml water. Please quench your thirst. Or 5 drops of water. Quench your thirst. Will that suffice? Definitely not. Same thing in this material world also. The soul is longing for permanent pleasure, spiritual pleasure. But the soul is given only some material pleasure. And that material pleasure never satisfies the soul. And the soul is constantly searching for happiness, constantly searching for pleasure. How the 4th canto of Bhagavatam says. Narada Muni speaks to Prachina Barhi in the 4th canto of Bhagavatam. It was 28th or 29th chapter. He says, Kshutparito yathadina saramayam graham graham. Just like a hungry dog goes from one door to another door, a stray dog goes from one door to another door to get some food. Similarly, the conditioned soul goes from one body to another body, one species to another species, one planet to another planet, probably one universe to another universe. I don't know. In search of pleasure. But every body cheats him, every planet cheats him, every species cheats him, every universe cheats him, every material situation cheats the conditioned soul. The conditioned soul is aspiring for some pleasure in this body. Somehow this body did not give. And he's longing for more and more pleasure. And that desire creates another body for him. And this conditioned soul enters into that body, hoping that he will fulfill the desires there. But there also he is frustrated. There also he could not fulfill his desires. That's what conditioned soul's life is in this material world, till the conditioned soul takes to the process of bhakti. Fine, we understood the materialistic conditioned soul's saga in this material life, in this material world. But let's try to analyze a little more. Once you practice bhakti, once you start bhakti, should you still experience difficulties? Materialistic people experience difficulties, that is clear, because of their karmic activities. But what about devotees? They're chanting Hare Krishna. They are singing bhajans, Vaishnava bhajans. They're worshipping the deities. They're studying scriptures. They're speaking on scriptures. They're hearing scriptures. And they're distributing spiritual literature to others. They're eating only Krishna prasadam. Right? Despite engaging oneself in so many such spiritual activities, still there is an experience of misery, experience of difficulty. Why? Most of the times, struggling sadhaka enter into spiritual life with a material expectation. Practice of spiritual life is material pleasures. Sometimes it's like that. These four kinds of devotees: arto, jignasu, artharthi, gnani, cha bharatarshava. चतुर्विधा भजन्ते मां जनाः सुकृतिनोऽर्जुन आर्तो जिज्ञासुरर्थार्थी ज्ञानी च भरतर्षभ. Chaturvidha, four types of people do bhajan of Krishna. They are doing bhajan of Krishna, but they are artha bhaktas. They are seeking relief from miseries. That's why they do bhajan. And some of them seek money, wealth, position, power. That's why they worship. And some are little curious. They're curious. What's happening? How spiritual life looks like. Let me just explore. That's why they do their bhajan. So these are some expectations, material expectations. And some people, as soon as they start spiritual life, 1 or 2 years into practice of sadhana bhakti, they expect all their anarthas to be cleared. Somebody was asking me, where I think it was in Austin, just a couple of weeks back I was there. I have been chanting Hare Krishna since 1 year, but I am not getting darshan of Krishna yet. Did you get? Since when are you chanting? I said, some 17, 18 years. Oh, did you get darshan? Oh, even if you get darshan, you will not reveal. I'm telling you, I'm not getting. I didn't get darshan. Maybe you'll not reveal it to us. No, nothing to reveal. There's an expectation, quick expectation. Yes, immediately we should get darshan of the Lord. 1 year is a long time. And scriptures promise even one mantra is sufficient. Just chant once, it is sufficient. Sakrit eva prapannoyam. Just once if you say, Sakrit eva prapannoyam tavasmiti chayachate abhayam sarvada tasmai dadamyetat vratam mama. That Ram says, even if somebody says, oh Ram, I am yours, I surrender unto you. Even if somebody says like that even once, abhayam sarvada tasmai, I will protect him, I will give him abhayam forever. Ram says, even one holy name is sufficient. We keep hearing these promises, which is correct, definitely. So because of hearing these promises, incentives, there's an expectation in the heart of a conditioned soul or a struggling sadhaka that all my miseries must be mitigated and I should become self-realized overnight. I should become a pure devotee overnight. Or maybe may not be pure, aspiration may not be for pure devotion, but definitely aspiration is for eradication of material miseries. Most people, when they practice spiritual life, they have two common expectations. One, their difficulties must be eradicated. Second, their desires must be fulfilled. So what is the Lord's job? Fulfilling our desires and destroying our difficulties. That's how they see the Lord. And all the shlokas that are so hope giving. Yesterday we were discussing Ananyas Chintayanto Mam Yajanaha Paripasati. Tesham Nityabhyuktanam Yogakshemam Vahamiham. Focus goes on Yogakshemam Vahamiham. Aham Tvam Sarvapapebhyo Mokshayishyami Masuja. Focus goes there, but Sarva Dharman Parityajya. Focus doesn't go there. Right? So when we expect prayojan without following abhideya and without having proper sambandha jnana, what will happen? Right? We can't expect prayojan. Prayojan means love of God or quote unquote liberation for many people. Let's say the prayojan. We can't expect that immediately without going through abhideya. In fact, after somebody begins spiritual life, begins sadhana bhakti, begins the process of Sravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, Padasevanam, the anartha seems to be enhanced more. I was not so lusty before. Why my lusty desires are increasing now after chanting Hare Krishna? I was not so angry before. Why am I becoming more angry now? I was not envious before. Why am I becoming more envious now? Or I did not have so many difficulties earlier, but now there are so many difficulties. One of our relatives was saying, some of our grandmother, grandfather, they started chanting a little bit. Looks like the relatives saw these elderly people behaving in different ways. They're saying all problems began when they put their hand in this bag. How many of you know Telugu here? Not many. Oh my God. Anyways, I already studied in English, but let me speak in Telugu. One sentence. సంచుల్లో చేతులు పెట్టుకున్న తర్వాత ప్రాబ్లమ్స్ అని స్టార్ట్ అయినాయి. Sanchi means this bag. So after they inserted their hand in the bag, all problems began. Earlier they were okay. That's their perception. One of her relatives said, I will not chant this Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Why? There is Ram. 4 times there is the word Ram. What's the problem with Ram? Because Ram went through so many difficulties. If I chant his name, I will also go through so many difficulties. It was some 15, 16 years back. I told, at least chant half mantra. First Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. At least chant that much. They said, if I chant, I'll chant full mantra, no half mantra. I have other mantras of some deities who never underwent any difficulties. I will chant those mantras. That's their expectation. But why even devotees who are practicing sadhana bhakti, Sravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam, why they experience more difficulties after starting sadhana bhakti? The answer is, before entering the hospital, your problem may be, your pain may be less. But somehow after entering hospital, your pain will increase. Isn't it? Before getting admitted for a surgery, you're not feeling so much pain. But once you start doing the surgery, once it's operative, then so much of pain, they will say, will you take a painkiller? Yes, I need painkiller now. So we are on painkillers many times. The surgery process is very difficult. It becomes very like there was pain earlier before entering the hospital, but after entering the hospital, there is more pain. But that more pain is meant to relieve that pain permanently, hopefully. Similarly, even when we experience some miseries or difficulties after practicing spiritual life, that difficulty or that misery, that austerity that we go through is meant to relieve us permanently from all difficulties, isn't it? Sometimes some treatments are painful. Now there is some ear pain. You go to ENT specialist, they will put a syringe in the ear. They will just inject some water into it. It pains very heavily. Especially the wax is stuck to the skin. Sometimes it may bleed also, depending on the extent. So there could be so much pain in the treatment. But you have to tolerate that pain. It could be 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 5 days or 10 days, depending on the disease. If you tolerate that pain, then you will become healthy. Similarly, when you enter the process of bhakti, in the beginning stages of bhakti, although you are chanting sincerely, although you are worshipping the Lord sincerely, although you are hearing the scriptures sincerely, you are trying your best to follow the process, still you experience some difficulties. It is often said that when the room is dirty, you enter the room, you will see dirt. But when you start cleaning, you can't stand in the room. So much dirt is rising and you are coughing. But that phase is required for the room to become permanently clean. But if you are afraid of that phase, then the room will remain dirty only. The dirt may be settled, but it's not worth living there because in such dirt you cannot sleep or eat or do anything. You have to clean. While cleaning, the dust that raised has caused more problem to you. It will make you more uncomfortable than before when the dust was settled. But that has to be cleared. The settled dust has to be cleaned completely. For that, we have to put some effort. So we cannot expect a very easygoing spiritual life. Just because we are practicing bhakti, that does not mean we'll be relieved from difficulties immediately, because the conditionings are still there. A practicing devotee also is struggling to overcome the past shortcomings and anarthas. He's not pure yet. If you become completely pure, done. No more anarthas. They will exist, but you have not, uh, you have not, you are not affected by it. Prabhupada gives this example in the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. It rains everywhere in monsoon. Then you will be drenched. But although you cannot stop the rain, you can always take an umbrella to protect yourself, isn't it? Or you have not taken an umbrella, you can immediately run under the shelter of some building or under some tree or some place where you can protect yourself from rain. So you are running towards the shelter, but while running, you will become drenched, right? Little bit. One who's standing there is anyways getting drenched. One who's in the rain, he will become wet. One who is under the shelter, he will not be wet. But one who is running from where he was standing under the rain to where the shelter is, they will also become wet while traveling on the way. Sadhaka bhaktas are like that. Materialistic people are those people who are not running towards the shelter. They are just walking happily in the rain, thinking that, oh, this is very nice, not knowing that they will get fever and cold later. Right? And pure devotees are those people who are under the shelter. They are not becoming wet. But sadhaka bhaktas are those people who suddenly experience some rain while walking on the road and they're running towards the shelter. While they're on the way, the running may take 1 minute or 1.5 minutes to reach the shelter. They are getting drenched. Don't become impatient. Few more steps. You are sitting there and 20 steps or 30 steps ahead, there is a shelter. Let's patiently take these 30 steps to reach the shelter. If you become impatient in 5 steps or 10 steps, complain, if we criticize, then we are only getting affected. Bhakti will work, definitely. That is scriptural statement. The universal spiritual history proved that bhakti works, and only bhakti works, nothing else works. Karma doesn't work, jnana doesn't work, yoga doesn't work, tapasya doesn't work, swadhyaya doesn't work, nothing works. To processes are Saravanam and Kirtanam, they work very effectively. The solution is clear, but we should have patience in applying that solution. If we become impatient and if we expect results immediately, then what could happen is we immediate expectation of comfort and eradication of difficulties did not happen. We start blaming. So a positive response to difficulties is patiently enduring them and waiting for Krishna's mercy. A negative response to difficulty response is enduring the difficulty and waiting for Krishna's mercy. A second class response is blaming the situation, criticizing the people involved, and developing some negativity and some kind of undesirable perceptions. The third class response is to deny the existence of God, to become an atheist. At least a second class person is blaming the Lord. Oh Lord, why are you not relieving my difficulties? Means at least although he's blaming, he's at least acknowledging the presence of the Lord, existence of God. But third class people, they become atheists. I'm worshipping him and no response from him means he doesn't exist. That's their conclusion. We should not enter the third zone. If we are in second zone, let's come to the first zone. Right? That's the message here. Kunti Maharani, she says, Vipadaha santutaha shashvad. Even before saying this, she said, Agneha purusha adadarshana asat sabhaya vanavasa krichrata mridhe mridhe nekamaharathastrato draunyastratascha harebhi rakshita. She said, Vishan mahagnehe. Visha means poison. My little son Bhima, when he was very young, he was poisoned by this Duryodhan, Dushasan, Karna, Shikuni and all this party. Vishan. Second, Mahagnehe. We were kept in a house made of lag and that house was set on fire by this Duryodhan and party and Dhritarashtra approved it out of his affection for his son. Vishan Mahagnehe. Third, Purushada Darshana. We encountered so many man-eating demons. Purushada Darshana. Hidimbasur, Bakasur, and all such people are coming and troubling us somehow. Bhima fought with them by the mercy of Krishna and we were protected. Vishan Mahagnehe Purushada Darshanat Asat Sabhaya. Asat Sabha, in that bad assembly, our daughter-in-law, Draupadi was insulted. Asat Sabhaya, Vanavasa Kritsrataha. So many difficulties in Vanavas, exile. Mridhe Mridhe Aneka Maharathastrato. Aneka Maharathastrata means unlimited. So many warriors were attacking Arjuna and all the Pandavas with their fierce arrows in the Kurukshetra battle and even otherwise also in other smaller battles. Asat Sabhaya Vanavasa Kritshrata Mridhe Mridhe Aneka Maharathastrata. And now Draunyastratascha harebhi rakshita. Drauni. Who is this Drauni? Dronacharya's son, Ashwathama. He released a Brahmastra to kill the last descendant of the Pandavas, who was still within the womb of Mother Uttara. Krishna, you protected us from all these calamities. Draunyastratascha harebhi rakshita. Oh Hari, abhirakshitaha, you have protected us. You are the only protector. Now, we were discussing some time back about struggling sadhakas. But what to speak of struggling sadhakas? Even pure devotees like Kunti Maharani, Pandavas and Draupadi and Uttara, they are also suffering. If they are suffering, who are we? What? All these sufferings are indicating what? This material world is a place of suffering only. Let's not be surprised when there is no suffering. When there is no suffering, let's not be surprised when there is suffering. You should be surprised when there is no suffering. How can there be no suffering? Not that we should become lovers of suffering. And Kuntimati is also not lover of suffering. Okay, in the next sloka she says, Vipadaha santutaha shashvat tatra tatra jagat guru bhavato darshanam yasyat apunar bhava darshanam. Vipadaha santutaha shashvat. My dear Krishna, I have already listed so many difficulties that we have experienced in the past, in the previous shloka. Let the difficulties come again and again. What does it mean? Let my son Bhima be poisoned again? Ah, yes, yes. Let our house be set on fire again. let our daughter-in-law be insulted again. It seems very scary. This is what Kunti Maharani is meaning or what? Vipadaha santutaha shashvat. Just now she listed all the difficulties she faced and she says, let it continue. Let the calamities come again and again and again. Aniyor. Or puri, or rasgulla. I love rasgulla. And Kunti Maharani loves difficulties. I love pizza. Kunti Maharani likes reversals in life. That's why she's praying for more and more difficulties. Anyone here prayed for difficulties? Oh, Radha Gopijan Vallabhji, please give me more difficulties. Vipadaha Santudaha Shashvat. Tatra Jagat Guru. We never pray for difficulties, but she's praying for difficulties. Actually, she is not praying for difficulties. She is praying for Krishna's darshan. Because Krishna gave them darshan through a difficulty, therefore she is welcoming difficulties. Krishna, if he can get your darshan through a difficulty, let the difficulty come. If calamity gives me an opportunity to see Krishna, I welcome even calamity, no problem. Love is not for calamity. Some people love that. Some people jump. Some people go on the mountain cliff, and they jump there from there. There's an adventurous spirit. Some people climb mountains. There's an adventurous spirit. Kshatriyas love to fight. Right? Different people have different likings for some difficult, tough things. Right? Singers like more difficult ragas I will play. I will sing. Give me more challenges. Scholars say I will compose more difficult meters. Very difficult slokas I will compose. Sanskrit poets may say like that. Different people like challenges. Similarly, Kunti is loving challenges or what? No. The challenges are the reversals or the calamities or difficulties that she was facing always gave her an opportunity to see Krishna. Therefore, she wanted to see Krishna and praying for the difficulties. Bhavato darshanam yasyat apunar bhavadarshanam. Oh Lord, whenever we went through some difficulty, we got your darshan. Very nice. We want that darshan again. For that darshan, we need to undergo some calamity. No problem. I'll face one more difficulty so that I can see again. That's her prayer. Prayer is to be connected to Krishna. Her prayer is Krishna, to see Krishna, to serve Krishna. That's her prayer. And if calamity gives her that opportunity, she can welcome calamity also. The gopis of Vrindavan, once Krishna revealed the medicine for his headache also. If one of my devotees offer dust from their feet, and if he place that dust on my head, my headache will go away. The Narada Muni is going everywhere. Who will give dust? Who will give dust? Nobody is giving dust. How can we give our dust? And how can you place that dust on Krishna's head? We'll go to hell. We don't want to go to hell. And finally, Narada Muni came to the gopis of Vrindavan, headed by Srimati Radharani, and told them, oh, innocent gopis, Krishna had severe headache. Oh, Narada Muni said, don't worry, there is a medicine for it. Yes, tell me, what is that medicine? You should give some dust from your feet. And if I place the dust on Krishna's head, Krishna's headache will immediately go away. Then all the gopis said, yes, please take. So they collected dust from their feet and put in a pot and gave it to Narada Muni. Narada Muni, take it immediately, go. Start now. Go through Narada Airlines. Right? Narada doesn't need a chariot. He can fly in the sky. In 10th canto of Bhagavatam, we had Putana Airlines. We had Trinavarta Airlines. Putana, she's a witch. She knows black art. She'll take a small stick and she will sit on it and then play. Putana Airlines will take off like this. Trinavarta Airlines, is a whirlwind demon. Hare Krishna. So all the gopis said, Narada Muni, immediately go to Dwaraka and give this dust to Krishna. Narada Muni asked, do you know what will happen if I place this dust on Krishna's head? The gopis said, Krishna's headache will go away. That's what you told me. Narada Muni said, something else also will happen. What is that? You will go to hell. That's okay. The gopi said, that's okay. To relieve Krishna from his headache, even for a fraction of a second, We don't mind residing in the hell for the rest of eternity. That is their love for Krishna. They don't mind experiencing the difficulty of living in hell for the rest of eternity to relieve Krishna's headache even for half a moment, a fraction of a second. So devotee wants to serve Krishna, love Krishna, see Krishna. For that, they can undergo any difficulties. They don't hate difficulties. Devotees are not difficulty haters. They are not difficulty lovers also. They are lovers of Krishna. Devotees never get overwhelmed by difficulties. That's what Bhagavatam repeatedly says. So many devotees, including Prahalad Maharaj, he was tortured by his own father. Ambrish Maharaj, he was attacked by Durvasa Muni, a guest who came for meals. He started killing him. He came for prasad. If somebody comes to your home for prasad, instead of taking prasad, they want to kill you. What will you what will you think? Durvasa Muni is such a guest. He came for prasad. And he created a fiery demon to immediately burn Ambrish Maharaj to ashes on the spot. Why? He took one drop of water, that's all. What kind of host is he? What kind of guest is he? Any host would like to host such a guest? Never. But Ambrish Maharaj is hosting such a guest without any complaints, with absolutely no complaints. Pandavas, their property was usurped. The way Duryodhan, Dushasan, Karna, Shakuni, headed by Dhritarashtra, took away the opulence, Indraprastha kingdom of Pandavas is really piteous. Many people blame Yudhishthir Maharaj. Yudhishthir Maharaj is a gambler. He should not supposed to gamble like this. Because he's addicted to gambling, he lost everything. People say like that. It's an offense in one sense. Yudhishthir Maharaj had no taste for gambling, no expertise in gambling. And see, some people even say that Yudhishthir Maharaj is expert in gambling. He's addicted to gambling. Not at all. He doesn't know how to play the game. Mahabharata says he doesn't know how to play game properly. And he's totally against this proposal. He told 100 times in front of Vidura, in front of Duryodhan, in front of Dhritarashtra, in front of Bhishma, Drona, in front of everybody. He told so many times, let's not play this dice game. It will unnecessarily create so much of dissension between family members. We don't want to play this. But Duryodhan said, it's a like a friendly game. Oh, you're afraid, you're afraid. And Yudhishthira Maharaj can reject a challenge also, keeping aside his Kshatriya identity. But he cannot reject the order given by King Dhritarashtra. Therefore, he was obliged to Dhritarashtra. And because of following Dharma, Yudhishthira Maharaj went through so many difficulties. Aho kashtam aho nyayam yadyuyam dharma nandana jivitam narhata klishtam vipra dharmachyutashraya. Yudhishthira Maharaj has always taken shelter of dharma, but he went through so much of kashtam and anyayam. Kashtam is difficulty, but anyayam is injustice. Difficulty may come on its own many times, but anyayam means somebody is deliberately causing difficulty. You get it? Difficulty could be like nobody caused a difficulty to us intentionally. It just comes. You can get fever or cold or something like that. You cannot say, he is the cause of my fever. She is the cause of my cold. You cannot say like that. Difficulty can come out on its own also. But anyayam means specifically somebody is planning, manipulating the situations, maneuvering the situations to cause harm to us. That is anyayam. Aho kashtam, aho anyayam. Dharmaraj, our Yudhishthir Maharaj, faced so many kastams and anyayams in his world, in his life. So why so many pure devotees are experiencing so many difficulties? Struggling sadhakas are experiencing anyways, because still some traces of anarthas and apras are left, therefore they're experiencing. But pure devotees are also experiencing so many difficulties, and they're praying for more difficulties. Why is it so? Let's go a little deeper into this. How are these difficulties beneficial to us? Instead of blaming the Lord or blaming the situation or blaming the people around us when we face difficulties, let us approach these difficulties with gratitude. How can I be grateful for difficulties? You may have this question. Yes, we'll answer this question. We'll give a very, very convincing answer to this question in the next few minutes. Have you seen a river? A flowing river? On top, on the superficial level, the river has so many ripples and waves. The surface of the river seems very restless, very agitated, very disturbed. Waves and wind, isn't it? But if you go deep, the current is very stable, right? The current deep inside the river is very stable, just moving. All this agitation and disturbance and restlessness is seen only on the surface. That agitation or disturbance on the surface of the river represents birth, death, old age, disease, and all the difficulties and disturbances that we face in life. Right? So, this birth, death, old age, disease, and all the reversals and difficulties that we're facing in life are like the superficial waves on a river. They remind us that to go deep. Let's go deep. Deep is like on the surface, you see agitating waves on the river in the river, but when you go deep, there is a constant current. Similarly, externally speaking, the body, the material body, and the material mind may face so many difficulties, so many unwanted calamities. But deep within there is soul. The constant and consistent current of a river, which is deep, that represents the soul, our inner self. Although externally the body and mind undergo so many tribulations, but the soul remains intact. The soul remains Sat-Chit Ananda. The soul's true constitutional nature will never change. We are all parts and parcels of the Lord. However contaminated the soul is, the soul can always be reinstated in its original position as the servant of Krishna, provided the soul takes interest in Bhakti Yoga. Right? We need to go deep. All the difficulties, they help us go deep into our own spiritual life. They help us to look within. They help us to question, why am I experiencing this difficulty? Although I don't want. Is there any possibility of experiencing permanent pleasure? I have tried to explore so many pleasures in this material world, in this external world, but I failed. I have miserably failed since millions of lifetimes. I failed. Is there any possibility of experiencing permanent pleasure that has no end? That pursuit, that sincere question brings us to spiritual life, takes us deeper into spiritual life. We may have come to spiritual life, but probably while practicing spiritual life also, we may be on the superficial level only, constantly getting affected or tossed by the waves externally. When we are on the surface, we will be tossed by the waves. When we go deep, we will see constant current. Right? So let's not be in a superficial level. Apparently, it seems that, oh, this devotee has practiced bhakti for such a long time, 10 years, 12 years, 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, whatever. And so many accomplishments are there, so many accolades are there, awards are there, amount of service is so much. That's fine. It's apart from performance, we need to go deep into meditation. Apart from expansion, there should be absorption. Right? Absorption. A river may be very expansive, but don't just be impressed with the expanse of the river. The reality is there in the depth. How deep did we go? Whether it is Shastric study or japa or service, Depth is important apart from the expanse. Apart from the width, depth is also important. Sometimes a river may seem very vast and wide, but if you jump into that river, head will break. Why? It's very shallow, only 1 foot deep or 2 foot deep. It seems like so many kilometers wide. Width may be there. Visibly, it seems like a huge water body, but if it is shallow, it it just one who enters it will hit the head. We need to go deep also. So apart from achieving many things, doing many things, performing many things, we should also prioritize going deep into our own spiritual life, into our own consciousness. I'm chanting, but am I being prayerful in my chanting? I'm reading. Am I reading with a sense of urgency or casual reading? I'm serving. Am I serving with proper consciousness? I'm interacting with devotees. Do I still have some envy towards some devotees? Am I able to genuinely appreciate their devotional qualities? Or am I still feeling insecure? Oh, why is he performing so much? He's not so great. I am get better than him. This world has not yet recognized my glories. Let the world recognize. Let them let them understand how glorious am I. I'm waiting for that day. But this person, yeah, there's no substance in him, but still he's being recognized so much. Sometimes this material mind gives so many thoughts and unnecessary negative perceptions about devotees who may be doing little better than us. Right? Envy, consciously or unconsciously, there is some envy within. Am I genuinely taking pleasure in seeing another devotee flourishing in their Krishna consciousness, or am I feeling insecure, or feeling threatened, or feeling envious? Or if I am doing better than others in terms of services, am I feeling proud or a sense of superiority complex? Am I looking down upon people who may not be so greatly performing like me? Or am I trying to extend a helping hand? Am I still inclined to respect them for whatever they do? Although what they do may not be as much as what I do. If that respect is not there, we have not gone deep into bhakti. Going deep into bhakti means cultivating humility. Trinadapi sunichena tarorapi sahishnuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sada harihi. Trinadapi sunichena, being humbler than a blade of grass. And Prabhupada sets a higher standard than that. Srila Prabhupada says, not just being humbler than a blade of grass, being humbler than a straw on the street. What's the difference? A blade of grass is still green, is still grounded, it's growing. Even if you trample on a blade of grass, as soon as you lift your foot, it will again stand like this. When you step on it, grass is humble. When you remove your step, again it comes up. I'm still living. I'm still there. There is humility. There is no opposition. But still, as soon as somebody removes the foot, but a strong anymore. So insignificant. And Prabhupada says, be humbler than that straw on the street also. What does it mean? Should I completely feel myself completely insignificant? Good for nothing? No self-respect? Actually, the real self-respect that we give to ourselves is to recognize ourselves as insignificant servants of Krishna. Whenever we are thinking ourselves to be significant as enjoyers, or proprietors, or masters, or controllers, or doers, or performers, then we are disrespecting ourselves. Jai Shri Radha Gopijan Vallabh ki jai. To think of oneself as Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Brahmachari, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyasi, engineer, doctor, actor, businessman, builder, artistic, so many upadhis. To consider oneself, to identify oneself with any of these designations is actually disrespecting oneself. Does it make sense? It has to. That's what Bhagavatam says. That's what all the scriptures say. Sarvopadhi vinirmuktam tat paratvena nirmalam. Sarva upadhi. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right in the middle of Madhya Leela, 13th chapter, in the middle of Ratha Yatra, he says, Naham vipro na cha narapatir napi vaishyo na sudro, Naham varni na cha grahapatir no vanastho yatirva, Kintu prodyan nikhila paramananda purnamrutabdher, Gopi bhartu padakamalyo ardasa dasa anudasa. He says, he declares, Naham Vipro, I am not a Brahmana. Although he was born, he appeared in the Brahmana dynasty, Mahaprabhu claims that I am not a Brahmana. I am not a Kshatriya. I am not a Vaishya. I am not a Shudra. Naham Varnina Chagrahapatir Novanastho Yatirva Yati. I am not a sannyasi. Although he is a sannyasi with a shaved head, with saffron cloth, he says I am not a sannyasi. I don't belong to any ashram. I don't belong to any varna. Then who are you? Gopi bhartuh padakabalayor dasa dasa anudasa. I am just a servant of the servant of the servant of the master of the gopis of Vrindavan, Krishna. That's our identity. That's what it means when we say we are supposed to be humbler than a straw on the street. Right? I'm insignificant. To realize one's insignificance in comparison to the most significant position of Krishna is humility. To identify oneself with any other designation, any other position, any other identity in this world is self-disrespect. It's not self-respect. Sometimes people see other people as objects of enjoyment. They recognize other people with their, say, material positions. Oh, he's a very wealthy man. So when this man sees the other man, oh, he's a wealthy man, he's an object of my pleasure because he gives me money. Or they see some beautiful people. Oh, they are beautiful. Their beauty gives me happiness. Let me exploit their body. Let me enjoy their forms, external forms. Let me enjoy their opulences, whether it's wealth or beauty or education. If we associate people's material attributes with them and start respecting them for what they are materially, we are disrespecting them. But actual respect that we can give to any living entity is to recognize them as souls, parts of Krishna, amshas of Krishna, servants of Krishna. Only when we recognize every single living entity as a servant of Krishna, we are respecting them. But if we are just carried away by their external attributes and approaching them in that mood, and especially with a selfish agenda to exploit them because they have these attributes, oh, that is disrespect in one sense. Of course, you can always utilize their talents in Krishna's service. You can give them an opportunity. When somebody has some material attributes, you can give them an opportunity to engage those material attributes in spiritual service. That's good. That's a service. That's a seva. That's fine. But if you want to exploit them or take benefit of their material attributes for one's own selfish purposes, that is disrespecting them. That is against spiritual culture. Right? So coming back to our original discussion, we need to see difficulties in our lives as God sent. They're inevitable, and even pure devotees also may have to face them. And even pure devotees or even struggling devotees, when they're facing difficulties in this world, that only repeatedly reveals the impermanence of this world. This place is not worthy to live. It's not a place for my residence. Let me get out of this place. That feeling of detachment should appear in the minds of all of us whenever we face difficulties. And when we are on the superficial level, we'll be affected by the difficulties. Just like there is always agitation and waves on the surface of the river. When you go deep, there is some constant current. Similarly, when we go deep, dive deep into the spiritual life, then we will not be affected by it, affected by the external ups and downs. Nindana stava satkara nyakarartham kalevaram. This material body is meant to experience ninda, criticism. Stava, praise. Sometimes criticism, sometimes praise. Satkara and nyakkara. Satkara means sometimes we receive some satkar, honor. Nyakkara means neglect, dishonor. This material body is meant to experience all these dualities: success, failure, victory, defeat, happiness, distress, honor, dishonor, heat, cold. This is what this body is meant to experience. We have come here for that. But when we raise our consciousness to spiritual plane, we will not be affected by these external dualities. But we will gratefully go through all of them, because whenever we are experiencing some happiness, we are exhausting our pious karma, punya karma. And whenever we are facing some difficulties, we are exhausting our impious karma or papa. We are here to exhaust the papa and punya. Oh, if difficulty comes, let me experience this. I will get rid of my papa karma. Let me not avoid it. Let me not escape it. If I blame, if I criticize, if I protest, if I postpone, then again later I will have to experience it, right? If it's coming, let it come. Let me experience, let me go through it. Let me get rid of this karma. These are the realizations of Jada Bharat when he was carrying the palanquin of Rahugana. He said this point. So whenever we are experiencing happiness in this world, that happiness is a result of our past good karma, and by experiencing that happiness, we are exhausting that good karma. Bas, ho gaya. Matter closed. Okay. Here I'm supposed to experience some facility. Give me facility. Okay. Matter closed. I'm done with this karma. Oh, difficulty, some sickness. Okay, fine. Let me experience sickness. Bad karma is gone. I'm empty-handed. Krishna, please take me. Right? But problem is, most of the conditioned souls, they try so hard to avoid difficulties and to experience happinesses. So this will only entangle them more and more. Just whatever is coming, whatever life is throwing at us, just experience it and get rid of it and go back to Godhead. But if there is too much of protest, too much of complaint, whenever there is some difficulty, when there is too much of excitement, over excitement, when there is happiness, then that will keep us here only. A mature spiritualist, a mature devotee sees happiness and distress on an equal plane, sees success and failure on an equal plane, sees gold and stone on an equal plane. Gold and stone, both are same? No, right? But you have to see both of them equally. How you can ask your parents? Right? You may not understand right now. You are too small to understand, but eventually you should come to a stage where you see gold and stone same, happiness and distress same, pizza and non-spicy khichdi same. Right? Whether it is pasta or pulka, both are same. How can you see pizza and pulka? Can you will you treat both of them same? But you have to treat both of them same. You have to come to that level. I'm not saying this. Krishna said this. Krishna initially said, tolerate these dualities. Tolerate happiness and distress. Tolerate success and failure. Tolerate heat and cold. Tolerate honor and dishonor. When tolerance is upgraded, it becomes equanimity. Right? Tolerance is version 1.0. Equanimity is version 2.0. right? Upgrade, new update. Updated tolerance is equanimity. So tolerance means you are able to differentiate between happiness and distress, but you are managing to tolerate them. But equanimity means you don't even see any difference between happiness and distress because both are irrelevant to me. Let me clarify more. What did Krishna say in 2.14? Matra sparshastu kaunteya
Mantraspashvastu kauteya,
शीतोष्ण सुख दुःखदाः
Krishna Shuka Dukadaha,
आगमापायिनो नित्याः
Agamapaino Nitya,
तां स्थितिक्षस्व भारत.
Tamsisi Sattva Bharata.
Krishna said, Agama apayino anityaha is happiness and distress, heat and cold, summer and winter. They come and they go. Agama apayino. Anitya, they're impermanent. Knowing that they're impermanent, you tolerate. Tam sitikshasva bharata. Therefore, tolerate happiness and tolerate distress. Tolerating distress, we understand. But what is this tolerating happiness? Do you tolerate happiness? No? You tolerate distress, right? Distress has to be tolerated. How can you tolerate happiness? You don't know how to tolerate happiness? I'll tell you. Whenever there is a happy moment, or success, or victory, or some source of pleasure, we may become little elated, over elated, confident, overconfident, proud, arrogant. Tolerate. Tolerate that happiness. Don't get overexcited. You can enjoy and rejoice that moment, happy moment, that's fine. But don't cross certain limits, knowing that this too shall pass. If you're too attached to that happy moment, too attached to that success, tomorrow if you don't get that success, you cannot handle it. You get overwhelmed. Therefore, learn to tolerate happiness also, not only distress. That's why if since childhood, if somebody is accustomed to experience only pleasures, whatever the kids want, the parents are supplying, and they are accustomed to getting only royal comforts, they never saw any distress, for example. But later, when they are grown up, if life throws at them some problems, they won't be able to take it. Therefore, it is important to practice austerity, voluntarily accept some inconveniences upon oneself. Right? That's a Vedic culture. So we need to tolerate happiness also. Don't get overwhelmed by happiness. Don't be elated. Don't be overconfident. Don't be overexcited. Don't become proud or arrogant. Don't look down upon people, those who are not as happy as you or as successful as you. Tolerate that happiness also. Don't be overexcited. Fine, you can have a smile, no problem. You can share your joy. But if you get overexcited, this modern world is a too much of expression through all these emojis, all these circles. Wow, so amazing, excellent, wow, amazing, mind blowing. They keep clapping. That's fine. To some degree, it's okay. But if when there is a failure, can they take it? Bhagavad Gita is not a book that teaches us only how to attain success. Gita teaches us how to deal with failures also. Anyways, this 2.14, the point that Krishna is conveying in 2.14 is tolerate happiness and distress. But he did not stop there. He went to the next sloka, 2.15. Yam hi navyatha yantyete purusham purusharshabha sama dukkha sukham dhiram somrutatvaya kalpate. Sama dukkha sukham dhiram. In the previous shloka, Krishna said, tolerate happiness and distress. In this shloka, Krishna is saying, see happiness and distress on an equal plane. They both are same. Then, so amrutatvaya kalpate, then you are eligible for immortality. Then you are eligible for eternal life. If you are still getting overwhelmed by happiness or distress, we are not yet ready for the spiritual plane. If we are indifferent, or if we can see material happiness and material distress on an equal plane, we are eligible for spiritual plane. If material distress is having a negative impact on us, if material pleasures are having like too much of elated experience in us, then we are not yet ready for spiritual plane. Whether it is happiness or distress, if it is on a material plane, don't get excited. See them equally. After all, both are material. How can they be equal? Both are material, both are temporary, both are irrelevant to the soul. It's of no relevance to the soul. Let me give a simple example. If you are given a very nice, soft cushion sofa and a nice AC room in summer, you'll be comfortable, right? You'll be happy. If you're given very nice food, whether it is pizza or pasta or burger or whatever is your favorite food, or idli, dosa, sambar, or paratha with butter, whatever it is, your favorite food is given. But if you offer all these pleasures to a fish, taking it out of water, you keep the fish on a very nice golden throne, bedecked with so many jewels, and on a golden plate, offer just fresh pizza that just came out of the oven, right? And then give 10 kinds of food items and give necklaces, very beautiful diamond necklace you offer to fish, idam necklace. Then you offer flower garlands, sandalwood pulp. You do push up stones, throw stones at the fish, or mm, or pierce the fish with some needle or whatever. It's whether you cause pain or pleasure to the fish, they are all equal only for the fish. Fish will be happy only when you keep it back in the water. When you keep the fish back in the water, then the fish is happy. Fish is not impressed with the pizza, whether it is attacking the fish with some weapons or worshipping the fish with flowers. Both are same for the fish because it's out of the water. Only when you keep it back in the water, fish is happy. Similarly, on the material plane, whether we are experiencing innumerable material pleasures or terrible material distresses, both are same ultimately, because both are causes of entanglement. Both are irrelevant to the soul. We are meant to experience spiritual pleasures, but we are caught up in material distress or material happiness. Both are irrelevant to the soul. Therefore, we need to upgrade and come to spiritual plane where we see happiness and distress on a equal plane, on the material plane. When you are traveling on the road, the red signal will give you distress. You have to stop the car for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 1 hour. And the green signal will give you happiness. You can just go. But when you're traveling in an airplane, that red signal is of no relevance and the green signal is also of no relevance. And that airplane is the spiritual plane. So we need to come to spiritual consciousness. Then we will be able to see difficulties also with gratitude. Because by offering these difficulties, Krishna is purifying our consciousness. Krishna is making us realize that this material world is not a worthy place of residence. Krishna is helping us to be detached from these pleasures in this material world. Every difficulty that we are facing in this world is meant to develop detachment. And Krishna is facilitating the detachment. Therefore, let us be grateful for all these difficulties. Krishna, thank you so much for giving me this difficulty. Now I can detach myself from this material entanglement. Because you have not made this situation very uncomfortable, I am still hoping I'll enjoy. Thank you for making this difficult, making this terrible. I'm now I can give up everything. Bas ho gaya. Enough. Before even Krishna gives difficulties, better we give up all the facilities. Right? Don't increase Krishna's job. If you are too attached to happiness and pleasures, to make us realize that this material world is not a place to reside, Krishna has to give us difficulties. No other way. Right? If we are too attached to this material world, to induce detachment in us, Krishna has to give us difficulties. But if we ourselves give up attachment to material pleasures, Krishna need not give us difficulties. But say we are attached, Krishna is giving us difficulties. Then be grateful. Thank you so much, Krishna, because I have not put any voluntary effort to give up this material pleasures. I am not voluntarily getting detached. You made me detached by giving me this difficulty. Therefore, let's be grateful to Krishna for giving us difficulties. And as Kunti Maharani prays, if you have the bandwidth, you can even pray for more difficulties so that we can be here. I recited, you didn't recite. You want to recite once? Naham vipro na chanarapatir napi vaishyo na shudra. We just discussed some time back. Who is Grahastha, who is Vanaprastha, who is Sannyasi, who is Brahmachari, who is Brahmana, who is Kshatriya, who is Indian, who is American. We are all Gopi Bhartuh Patakamalayur Das, 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 Dasanudas. In that Abhiman, there is real pleasure. In that identity as being a servant of Krishna, there is permanent real pleasure, condensed happiness. Krishna Dasa Abhimana Ye Ananda Sindhu Koti Brahma Sukhana He Tara Eka Bindu. The Abhiman, the conception or the emotion of being a servant of Krishna can immerse us in an ocean of spiritual bliss that in comparison to that bliss, in comparison to a drop of that bliss, even an ocean of Brahmananda is insignificant. Koti Brahma Sukhana He Tara Eka Bindu. So we need to experience that joy of Krishna consciousness. Then these difficulties will not bother us. They'll continue to exist like rain in monsoon season, but they will not affect us because we are under the shelter of the umbrella of Krishna Bhakti, Krishna's lotus feet. Let us take shelter of Krishna's lotus feet. Yatpada pankaja palasa vilasa bhaktya karmashayam grathitamudrathayanti santah tadvanna riktamatayo yatayo vinirdha shroto ganastamaranam bhaja vasudevam. Yat pada pankaja palasa vilasa bhaktya. One who is happily rejoicing this process of bhakti unto the lotus petal like feet of Krishna. Such a person will uproot one's karma. Karmashayam grathitam udgrathayanti samtaha. Material aspirations are uprooted, thrown away. Shroto ganastamaranam bhaja vasudevam. Therefore, worship Lord Vasudeva. Karma path cannot give this privilege. Yoga path cannot give this privilege. Jnana path cannot give this privilege. Only bhakti path can enable us, can reinstate us under the umbrella-like lotus feet of Krishna. Panena te deva katha sudhayam pravruddha bhaktya vishadashayaye vairagya saram pratilabdha bodham. All the devatas, the presiding deities of material elements are praying. Panena te deva katha sudhayam. Oh Deva, panena, let us drink the nectar of your pastimes. Katha Sudha means nectarian narrations of Krishna's topics. If we relish the nectarian narrations of Krishna's topics, then there is no difficulties continue to exist, but they exist only to give us detachment from this material world. We need to gratefully accept them. As Brahma says, Tateyanu kampam susamikshavaano bhunjana evatmakritam vipakam hridvagvapurбhirvidadhan namaste jivetayo muktipate sadaya bhak. Tateyanu kampam susamikshavaano. If you carefully analyze all the difficulties that we are experiencing are bhunjana eva atmakritam vipakam. They are just the results of our own past misdeeds. What are we supposed to do amidst them? Just take shelter of Krishna. Hridvag vapur bhir vidadhan namaste. Do some namaste. Namaste means take shelter, not just this. Namaste. This is not style. in doing namaste. That's an expression of an emotion of devotion. The inner emotion of devotion is expressed in the form of folded hands. Hridvag vapur bhir vedadan namaste. He says hrid means with heart, vak with words, and vapur with body. Vedadan namaste. Do namaste not only with body, not only with hands, with heart also you should do namaste. With mind also you should do namaste. With words also you should do namaste. Hridvagvapur bhir vidadhan namaste. Jivetayo mukti pade sadaya bhag. One who dedicates one's body, mind, and words to the process of bhakti, to the lotus feet of Krishna, and endures all the difficulties patiently, such a person is eligible for mukti pada, for the lotus feet of the Lord. Mukti pada means the Lord at whose lotus feet the liberation, the kingdom of liberation exists. That is mukti pada, not literally impersonal liberation here. Right? Even liberation falls at his feet. Mukti, Mukilitanjali, even liberation comes to a devotee, please accept me, please accept me. मेरे पास time नहीं है. I will not accept you. I am too occupied with bhakti. I have no time for mukti. That's what the devotee says. We are not here mainly to accept mukti. Let's endure difficulties the way they come. You may not pray for it, like Kunti Maharani did. But at least whatever difficulties come on their own, let's try to face them without any cynical attitude, without any negative feelings or hatred in the heart. Let us accept them with gratitude. Yes, this difficulty helps me to take shelter of Krishna. Thank you, Krishna, for giving me this difficulty. You shook me up. Thank you very much. I was in comfort zone till now. When Parikshit Maharaj was cursed to die within 7 days for an insignificant offense he has done, he kept a dead snake around Shamik Rishi's neck. Dead snake, not a living snake. And he never did this before. And he never did this later. Circumstantially, he just did this little offense. And he was cursed to die within 7 days. But as soon as Parikshit Maharaj received this news of this curse, what did Parikshit Maharaj say? It's a blessing in disguise. Oh Lord, thank you so much for arranging this curse in my life. He was not thinking, I am so young, what will happen to my kingdom? What will happen to my wives? What will happen to my children? I have made so many plans. He just gave up all of them within a moment. I only have 1 week to live. Janamajay, you take care of the throne. I am going. He went on the bank of Ganga and he sat on a straw mat and he was folding his hands and telling all the sages there, Gayatha Vishnu Gatha. Punascha bhuyat bhagavatyanante ratihi prasangascha tadashrayeshu. Mahatsu yam yam upayami srishtim maitriyastu sarvatra namo dvijebhyah. Punascha bhuyat bhagavatyanante. Even if I have to take birth once again in this world, I have absolutely no problem. See the consciousness of Parikshit Maharaj. He received one difficulty now. Instead of blaming the Lord for the difficulty, he is inviting it as a cause of indifference to his material pleasures. Okay, fine, no problem. I can just give up this and go back to Godhead. But he also says, even if I don't go back to Godhead, even if I have to take birth again, then also no problem. See how detached he is. He's detached from the kingdom. You may think that, okay, fine, he's detached from the kingdom, he wants to go to the spiritual world. But he expresses his willingness to come back also. Not to enjoy material pleasure, but to perform bhakti. Even if I have to take one more birth, absolutely no problem. Whatever you detachment. Detachment associated with devotion is appreciated. Only detachment without devotion is of not much. It doesn't shine much. Narayana para sarve nakutasya bibhyati swargapavarka narakeshu apitulyartha darshinaha. Tulya, same, whether it is swarga or apavarga or naraka. Swarga means heaven, apavarga means liberation, naraka means hell. All three are same. How can hell, heaven, and liberation be same? But for a devotee, all are same. Because wherever the devotee goes, he only worships Krishna. Lord Shiva appreciates Chitraketu Maharaj in this way. Chitraketu was cursed. No, at least Chitraketu Maharaj did a mistake of giving a feedback to Lord Shiva in public. Parikshit Maharaj made a mistake of insulting this Shamik Rishi by keeping a dead snake around his neck. But what mistake did Indrajumna Maharaj do? Tell me. He was absorbed in his meditation. Suddenly, Agastya Rishi came. Agastya Rishi is known for taking prasad. And a part of hospitality is to feed prasad. And Indrajumna Maharaj is too engrossed in his meditation, he could not even receive uh, Agastya Rishi with some hospitality. He feed some prasad. And Agastya Rishi became very angry and cursed Indrajumna Maharaj and he left. You see? Indrajumna Maharaj became an elephant, Gajendra. You compare Indrajumna Maharaj and Parikshit Maharaj. Parikshit did some small mistake, he got a severe punishment. And Indrajumna Maharaj did not even do that small mistake also, he got very severe punishment. But both of them accepted the curses with grace, with gratitude. Okay, my dear Lord, if this is what you want me to undergo, let me undergo, no problem. Absolutely no problem. I will accept any amount of difficulty if it pleases you. Don't hate the Lord just because there are some difficulties. There are so many examples. If I keep on sharing all the examples, whole night will pass. It's already 9 o'clock. But in short, to conclude our discussion, whether you remember everything or not, even I don't remember what all I spoke. But the conclusion here is let's endure all these difficulties with gratitude. Don't blame Krishna. Don't blame circumstances. Don't blame people around us. Don't blame other devotees. Don't feel that so much injustice has happened to you. Actually, Pandavas underwent so much injustice. In comparison to the injustice faced by the Pandavas, the so-called injustice that we are facing is insignificant. In comparison to the difficulties faced by Parikshit Maharaj, Indrajumna Maharaj, and Ambarish Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Chitraketu Maharaj, the difficulties that we are facing are insignificant. Do you acknowledge that? Or do you think you are facing more difficulty than what all these devotees have faced? Right? We are insignificant. We are insignificant. Our difficulties are also insignificant. But they are significant for us. We understand that. But at the same time, to encourage yourself, you can always compare your difficulties with their difficulties. इतना भी बुरा नहीं है मेरा situation. Right? I'm not in such a big difficulty. It's okay. I can manage. Have hope. Have confidence. Be happy. Chant Hare Krishna and be happy. Experience the sweetness of Krishna's name. Then difficulties will not affect us. Alamalamalameka pradinam patakanam nirasana vishayeya Krishna Krishneti vani yadi bhavati mukunde bhaktirananda sandra karatala kalita sa moksha samrajya lakshmi. Alamalamalameka pradinam patakanam. These pranis, these people in this world have done so much pataka, so many sinful activities. Nirasana vishayeya Krishna Krishneti vani. Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. This vani, this sound can completely destroy all the patakas, all the difficulties. Yedi bhavati mukunde bhaktirananda sandra. Just by chanting the names of Krishna, we will immerse ourselves in the nectarian, blissful ocean of bhakti. Bhaktirananda Sandra. Karatala Kalita Sa Moksha Samrajya Lakshmi. The Moksha Samrajya Lakshmi. The opulence of the kingdom of liberation will come into our hands. Like this. If we take bead bag in our hands. Right? For you to capture the opulence of the kingdom of moksha, You should have a bead bag in your hand. Krishna, 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 Krishneti Vani. And it is so sweet. Madhura Madhura Metan Mangalam Mangalanam Sakala Nigamavalli Sakrdapi Parigitam Shraddhaya Helayava Bhruguvara Naramatram Tarayet Krishna Nama. How sweet Krishna's name is. How beautiful Krishna's name is. How merciful Krishna's name is. How accessible Krishna's name is. When you get up in the night, middle of the night, your sleep broke, you can always pick up a bead bag and chant Krishna's name, but you cannot enter the altar and worship the deity. Right? All other limbs of bhakti require some little prerequisites at least. But holy name of Krishna, no prerequisites. No qualifications, no eligibility criteria. Anybody at any time, under any circumstances, at any place, any age group, anybody can chant Krishna's names and feel Krishna's presence. When Krishna has given us this opportunity to chant Krishna's names, instead of grabbing that opportunity and feeling grateful to Krishna, why should we complain, Krishna, why did you do this to me? Why did you do that to me? You thank him. He has already done so many things for us. First thing is, he appeared in the form of holy name and made himself accessible to all of us at any point, at any circumstance. We have to feel grateful to Krishna instead of blaming him or complaining that, oh, I have not done, I don't have this, I don't have that. Both kashtam, both anyayam. So much of anyayam and so much kashtam in life. So let's accept all the difficulties with grace and with gratitude and continue performing devotional service. And I seek your blessings to do it, not just speak it. Speaking is easy, but implementing all these principles, applying them is very difficult. And I need your blessings and prayers to get that ability to apply these teachings in my own life. Thank you very much. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Yugal Kishore Prabhu, any comments or corrections? Feedback. Yugal Kishore Prabhu is my worshipable senior. I had the good fortune of getting his close association in 2009 and 10 when I was just a brahmachari trainee. Actually, in 2009, when I was about to give up my job and enter brahmachari ashram, Yugal Kishore Prabhu was present in ISKCON party. His example of detachment, renunciation, and absorption in sadhana, strict sadhana, all that had a very deep positive impact on my heart. And he also is instrumental in one sense in inspiring me to join Brahmacharya Ashram faster. Otherwise, I had a plan to join after a few years, after earning some money and giving that money to my parents so that they are financially stable. But somehow Prabhu's renunciation and devotion said, why delay? Let's let's surrender fast. Don't delay your surrender. So yeah, I'm very, very grateful to you. I got to assist Prabhuji in the translation of the Journey Home book into Telugu language in 2010. He was kind enough to see me, like, although the age difference is so much, maybe at least 1.5 decades age difference is there, still he's always very respectful and loving and caring. I went with him to Hyderabad, Delhi for the book printing and book translation work. So I still have those sweet memories 15 years back. But in the recent past, he hardly comes to Chopati or GV. But still, I know wherever he is, his blessings and good wishes are with me. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. And